All right, so Ignite 2025 is winding down, coming to an end. I'm here with two good buddies who have lots of stories about me doing stupid shit that mutually assured destruction and nuclear deterrence in our histories. So we'll choose not to talk about any of those things. Agreed?
Agreed.
All right. Rich Cox, for those that don't know you, what's your shop name? Where are you located? What do you do?
We're Orion Automotive. We're in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and we're primarily European repair.
Okay. How long you been doing it?
This is 30th year for us now.
30 years. I would say that you are a very unique shop in the way that you've run it and the way that you've built the culture. Not typical.
We believe that our guests are our primary purpose as our guests. We're a customer service organization that just happens to fix cars for a living very well. Very high level of technical ability. My team is all smarter than me, which is kind of great. It's good to say that, you know.
It's a low bar, a low standard.
Low bar, exactly. And the facility is cool. It allows me to play in the gardens. We've got a pretty cool place. So,
tell me about the facility, because it is pretty cool.
We're six hoists, 7 with the alignment rack, and it's 9,000 square feet. It's a single entry building, and we have a wash bay inside, and we're on a couple acres. That's all gardens and fun,
and you have an industrial kitchen to cook for the team.
We have a pretty cool industrial kitchen. We do cook for the guys every day. I cooked for a long time, and now my parts manager has taken over the role, and I think they like his stuff better than mine because he likes to marinate and grill more than I do. So
that's the fourth kitchen renovation.
That's probably the fourth kitchen. It's the guys say it's done now.
Keep remodeling.
It just gets better and bigger. And
you also have a metal fab shop, is that right?
Metal fab shop, yeah. Thanks to Pro Service came a couple years ago and kicked me out of the main shop. So we've got another shop down the road that we're just wrapping up this week. The painters just left on Friday. So all the metal fab for the artistic steel, not necessarily race car stuff anymore, but mainly.
So Pro Service came and they shamed you into pulling all of that hobby shit out of your revenue generating space. Is that right?
Yeah, it reminded me back in the Blig days of like get your, boats out of the building and da-da-da. But I was a little bit beyond that, power hammers and
hobbies consume your income.
Yeah.
It's time to get it out.
Yeah, exactly. So they kicked me out and we cut a hole in the wall and put another door in, and so we were able to bring another tech in and da-da-da. So it did help the operation a lot, and everybody's happier. So that's the note to self. Don't do your private work in your building.
So I've always heard about the first time you hosted a Pro Service meeting that you threw just like a absolute killer party, like out on your farm. You had a bandstand set up, and it was...
Yeah, we had multiple people both times. Had multiple people stay for the weekend. We had people brought the campers in and stayed on Saturday, and we had it catered, and my band, another band played. So
up in the barn.
How
many acres?
Lathal Sadi.
You're on 8 acres?
It's 20 now.
20 now.
Yep. Lathal Sadi
people
was
camping in the background.
That was great.
Huh. All right, and so Mr. Buss,
former shop owner of DNR Auto Works in Highland Park, Illinois. Was in Pro Service for 15 years, and now I work for Pro Service. So I facilitate the maintenance meetings, go to the spring meetings, and help other shops continue to grow.
Nice. So how long ago did you sell the shop?
About 2.5 years ago, October of 22.
And now you bounce between Chicago and Arizona.
Correct.
You're one of the people that Jim has collected in his neighborhood.
Yeah,
right?
We have a little compound of Pro Service members in Anthem, Arizona, and Cave Creek, and right around that area. Beautiful area.
He's got mountains. Like 8 of you that he's collected now, right?
Yeah, could be more than 8, but
that's crazy. Well, cool. So you occasionally will log on to Friday Night Shenanigans. And you sit back and you watch me and judge me quietly, and I occasionally make eye contact with you on the camera, where it's because you know the real ugly, dirty facts about my business and what a fucking disaster it is.
Well, see, I see your numbers every
Yeah,
month,
you see
right?
my numbers, right?
And when they're really bad, you just don't report. And you think if you report a month late, I won't see them. I go back, brother.
I haven't filled out the numbers in years. So if it's not reported, then it's I blame my bookkeeper.
Okay.
But maybe I don't answer the questions that she has when I know they're really bad, so that she maybe falls behind the 8 ball.
Usually on what's this expense, right?
On who's it, what's it, where's it?
Usually you don't answer the question when she says, what's this expense for?
Yeah, it's travel and entertainment.
Yeah. It's all travel and entertainment.
It's all fun and games.
It's the low-key whiskey budget. So tell me a little bit about what the transition has been like for you from being a very high-performing shop owner to now, to clarify, I think you're a little bit of a no-nonsense, no-bullshit kind of guy. You just shoot straight, which I appreciate, right. And a lot of our members appreciate, but they can lead to some hurt feelings if somebody's a little delicate, snowflake.
And just like with the shop with clients, right? You got to treat every client a little bit different. And same with every pro service member and everybody I coach. Everybody needs a different method or style. You just happen to be the one that I need to yell at constantly, right?
Copy.
And this man right here, right? Like, he actually didn't show up at a meeting one time because he felt I was too hard on him the month before, then realized I wasn't, and he sent me an apology email.
Did you really get your feelings hurt bad enough that you punished him a month later?
I don't know if I punished him or not, but I called him out, and he didn't remember, so he must not have been trying to be too mean.
After 16, 17 years, right? But, I'm all about, striving to be the best. And I want everybody to succeed. And when I know it's silly stuff, right, I'll push somebody. And I'll push them hard. And Rich can contest. We're here in the same pack for
Long
15
time.
years. And I when I know somebody's got the capability, I'm going to push them, right? But not everybody can be pushed. Right. Some need a little hand holding, and that's okay, right? We're all different in the way we learn and grow and stuff like that. But I just want to see success within the people I'm coaching.
So one of the things that I really appreciate about Elite in general, pro service specifically, is that it's kind of methodology agnostic. And I've said this several times now in the last few weeks, is you don't care what concept we're executing as long as we're ethical and profitable.
Exactly.
And that's not the case with all organizations. That being said, you also have instances where you have dudes that have shops that are doing $700,000-$800,000 a month in general repair, and you go to a maintenance meeting and somebody who's doing $180 a month in Euro specialty work and they're very good at what they do. It's such a different world, and they're fussing at them to change and do things differently. You need to polish your floor, dude. I'm selling 200 tires a day.
We're going back to the Washington meeting here, aren't we?
Yeah.
That's what this is about, right?
Yeah.
Because I didn't like the computer cords that were on the ground between the kiosks, and he's like, dude, just let it go, right? Like, there's bigger things, right?
Right.
It's okay. To me, it's about appearance, right?
Yeah.
What the customer sees. But you take a Rich, right? He's not a huge shop, but it's a meticulous shop. It's very well ran. They do really good numbers. They have huge net, and that's what he wants, right? Everybody
And it's
has
and it's over the top in every way, and everybody thinks
Right.
I'm a little too much. Everything's spotless. Our floors are polished all throughout the building, and it is a little bit. I'm told to stop. Like last time they
Cleanest
were
shop
there,
in the
they
country,
stop,
right?
like quit it. So there's all of us. So
Do you have somebody whose job it is to polish the floors every day or anything like that?
we have we call it a Zamboni, but it's an automated floor machine like you see at Lowe's, and the tire kid is running it all day. Snow comes in, he follows the car in.
Wow.
So just all day.
Well, and his techs don't like any grime, right? So
Yeah, we don't have kitty litter in the building. We don't have any. We've got emergency oil pickups as required.
Yeah.
But we don't. Nothing gets dumped on the floor. That's the plan anyway.
Right.
It's always accidents. These are automobiles, and mistakes happen. But
It's all about frame of reference, right? Like my shop is probably one of the dirtier shops in pro service. Honestly, the dudes just keep their shit together, in pro service. But at the same time, it's cleaner than most shops in the country.
Right. That's fair.
And I'm just like, I hate when I walk through and I see stuff that's just sitting on the ground, because I hear you guys are like, nothing should ever sit on the ground. Everything should have a place, and it shouldn't be the ground.
Yep. Everything has a cart.
Yeah, a cart, a shelf, a cabinet, something. But I don't know how you put everything away. There's so much shit that goes into operating a shop. Where do you put it all?
Well, we've had experiences with, even with some higher end guys we brought in that can't get with the system. You know, we're too clean sometimes, and it's created a couple separations just because I want to jam. I don't want to be clean, and it's not negotiable. It's kind of one of the things we say when we're meeting people. It's not negotiable. We're going to be this clean.
Sometimes you got to give a little, right?
Yeah.
My head tech who was with me 15, 16 years was a slob, right? And everything was in his cart, Wally. You know Wally. Yeah. Great technician, but and it drove me nuts, right? And then there'd just be times where I had enough and I said, do not work on a car until you clean this, right? You got to give and take a little bit though, right? And again, not everybody is you. Not everybody needs that clean workspace, but you want their coworkers to be comfortable as well, right? Because they all want clean spaces, right? So you got to work with people.
Right.
Look, here's the deal. I like to think that I'm pretty good at running an auto repair shop. It's what I've done for 20 plus years, but I'm not good at managing a marketing budget and all the different facets of a truly well-rounded marketing plan. There's mail, there's local advertising, there's website, there's Google AdWords, there's all the different things that go into that, and it's just not what I'm good at. So what I've chosen to do is to buy myself the time to focus on what I am good at, while having someone else execute on all of those things at a way higher level than anything I could ever do. That's what turnkey auto marketing does for me. So if you feel like you could use some of that same magic, I'm going to recommend that you go to turnkeyautomarketing.com, get a free consultation, tell them that I sent you, tell them that Confessions of a Shop Owner sent you. You won't be disappointed.
It feels like it's somewhat dependent upon the culture of the business and the culture. I mean, who defines the culture first? It is the owner, right?
Absolutely.
And it kind of trickles down from there. So if you are meticulous and a clean freak by nature, then that's going to be what you expect and demand of your team, and it goes down from there.
And I think when the facility is kind of perfect, there's a lot of buy-in from the right kind of guys. And it's, you walk in the morning and we've got, plants in the windows and a lot of natural light. And it's, we've got skylights in the addition we built off the back of the building. So east side. So the morning is just glowing every day and the floors shine. So I'll go there on Sundays to grab something. I haven't been there all week, and I just wander around and look at it for a while, because they keep it that well, because it's their joint,
Well, and like with everything, right? They're going to treat it as it's kept. So if you keep it clean, you keep it painted, you keep it up to date, you have the best equipment, they're going to respect that. They're going to show the pride in that building as well, and they're going to keep their stuff as clean, right? If you're not painting, your floors are dirty, your walls are dirty, there's an inch of dust in the rafters, there's no sense of pride, right? So why are they going to have that sense of pride? It starts at the top. It always does.
I feel attacked.
Well, one thing I don't know where I picked
Just go clean your shop.
Yeah, go clean your shop. We'll wait. We'll be here. I don't know where I picked it up, but
never too busy to clean.
Never too busy to clean. It's actually in our manual to clean, but I tell the new guys, the apprentices and stuff, that when teaching them the standards and stuff is to look up. So if you want to know someplace you're going to go to a restaurant, go in the bathroom and look up and see if they're taking time to clean the rafters and the fan motors that are full of yuck. I mean, that's a standard for the rest of the building, and I think that that's a high level to attain, and some people would say it's not necessary, but like we said in pro servicers, everybody's different.
Yeah.
It's the way my brain thinks, right? I walk in a restaurant, I'm looking for cleanliness, right?
Yeah.
I walk in a department store, I walk in anywhere, I'm looking for how well they take care of it, right? Because that shows me the company I'm doing business with and how well they take care of their business.
Right. And all of our buildings are $1 million plus without anything in them. If you think about that, would you treat million on the ground, just kick it around. You take care of your nice things, like your mom said, right?
I don't know. I was always a toy abuser. Tells you that I was spoiled. Maybe I should have had a little more accountability.
Yeah,
I don't
maybe
know.
if you had to pay for that toy.
Exactly.
Well, so I was not spoiled, but I also never wanted for anything, I guess. So maybe I was spoiled, just not as bad as some others. But they pulled the funding after 1 year of college when they realized that I was just fucking off and not applying
Probably
myself.
a good thing, right?
Yeah. I still went for 4 more years so that I could get to my junior year. But I had a lot of fun and worked really hard to be able to keep the party going. But yeah, it was a different time. So, what's been your biggest takeaway from this event?
From Ignite?
Yeah.
Just a lot of good speakers, a lot of collaboration, a lot of meeting and greeting of people, because we don't just have pro service here. We have coaching clients here. We have people from the public who aren't involved with the lead here, meeting people and seeing shops of every caliber kind of unite and talk to one another and start learning from one another. And you see them passing phone numbers and talking and, sitting at lunch and talking to the people next to me and learning about their shop. And it's a second generation shop, and they want it to be a third generation shop. And, just everybody here loves this industry, right? They're here for a reason. They want to be better. They want training. They want to know as much as they can and just improve their business. And that's what this is all about, right?
Well, and to your point, I've spoken to people this weekend who closed the shop to come. Spoken to someone who their biggest victory recently is they finally hired a service advisor. And I've spoken to a guy who's got a goal of $150 million in revenue in the next 5 years, right?
Mr. Bill.
Mr. Bill, he's a cool dude.
Yeah, he believes in big, hairy ass, audacious goals, right? But I mean, there's some people that have that mentality, and to have that breadth of life experience and stage in the same room, sharing ideas and helping each other, and it's pretty neat. I mean, I'm really enjoying it.
It doesn't matter what size you are, right? We can learn from one another. Whether you're the one-man show starting out or you're the 20, multi-shop owner, right? We can all learn from one another. And everybody's got to start somewhere, right? And we talk about that with technicians, right? Everybody in this entire conference is looking for an A technician right now. We all are, right? We're not going to have to technicians if we
you don't even own a shop and you're trying to get one.
Right. Just to work on my cars, right? But we create apprentice programs. We're going to run out of technicians. We need to be the ones grooming them. Same with, we need shops in this country. We can't fix every single car, right? So we need to also help the guys starting out and help them grow and help them, be a good quality business. And that's what this is about.
Right.
That's what Elite's about.
Yeah, I think that takeaway of, we come to these events and we do things that in our people wouldn't normally consider it normal, like regular large businesses are going to come here and do collaborative events where we all get together and we spend 5 hours doing tasks, like a regular corporate, like a regular company, like a regular industry, and coming from, being a technician myself at a pretty high level, raising the bar of the shop owner, the person that answers the phone, the way the facility looks, the level of professionalism that we show the public. And then we're showing it the younger team coming in, and guys are saying to me, well, I need more stores because I'm not making the money I want. And I said, what are your numbers? And I said, well, let's fix that first, because you're turning plenty of money to make a good living. Right. You're doing something. We can fix that. We can tone that out.
So part of the conversation we had last night, there's a group of MSOs that got together and had dinner last night to talk about world domination and or how to defend yourself against the M&A wave that's coming through, the consolidation of the industry.
I was just saying that I just always appreciate these events because I don't know if we would meet trainer that fixes companies in Europe who's, what is it, Master Black Star, Six Sigma,
Right.
and have him spend the day with us. Like, I wouldn't reach out for that. I wouldn't go search for it. But I thought it was very impactful. And I thought, a bunch of car guys, doing corporate business training, that, because it molds your head. You go back, you're a little bit more professional, and you're a little bit more proud of our industry.
Hey there. I'm going to tell you about something that has completely transformed how I run my shop, TechMetric. As a 20-year shop owner, outdated systems used to slow us down. Everything was clunky, from check-in to estimate building to customer updates. It all felt just super inefficient. Switching to TechMetric has changed everything. With TechMetric, you get a powerful shop management system that includes DVI, quick and easy estimate building, inventory management, real-time reporting, amazing customer communication, and it's really easy for your employees to learn how to use the software. I'm talking like a one-day learning curve. On top of that, TechMetric has tons of other tools to make you an even better operator. Stuff like integrated payments with buy now, pay later options is a huge asset. Ask me how I know. And recently, they've added a CRM component with their partnership with Shop Genie, which I'm a happy Shop Genie customer already. So I'm super excited about that. Now, obviously, there are a lot of factors at play here, but I want to give you some facts about my business since I made the change to TechMetric. In September of 2020, when I switched to TechMetric, my ARO was $293. In September of 2024, we were $916. That's over 300% growth. Now, I'm not saying that TechMetric created all of that change, but I'm 100% saying that I couldn't have come this far without TechMetric. It's a key factor in our growth and success. If you're ready to level up your shop, TechMetric has everything you need: productivity, revenue, customer experience. Measure up by every measure with TechMetric. Tap the link in the show notes to learn more.
Which you admit, like I work in the trades in other areas, steel worker and stuff, and I always say that there's us that's number one in the trades, and then there's the iron workers and and it's like we are in a seriously advanced skilled trade set, and we have to recognize that, and it's not, oh, you're a mechanic, oh, great, it's like, and I'm not saying technology is changing so fast. It's like a technician growing up, starting my age, everything's changed all the time. Working in a dealership in the late 80s, the black box mentality. If you had one on the shelf, that's how you tested the car, because there was no.
Yeah.
And we went through this time frame of learning and creating our own diagnostic routines to where we are now, where some of the stuff my guys are doing is like, I look over their shoulder and they got two laptops on the car and headphones on and wave at me, and I'm like, yeah, have fun. 2 hours later, here's a diagnostic solution and
Well, I think
a
that's a
budget
good
to
point.
present to our.
It's a good point. You and I are the same age, right?
Yeah.
So, we started, there were still carburetors, but there was also electronic carburetors and fuel injections, right? And then all of a sudden, there's no distributor in the car. So at our age, we saw it all, right? We went from carb to where we're at today, right? Where big block V8s to 3-cylinder turbos, right? And it's been unique to be able to see the changes, right? Where these younger kids, they don't know what a carburetor is, they don't know what points is, and
So I have a couple of questions that I wanted to ask you, Rich. You've been in pro service or some form of coaching for how long now?
Well, Dan, I was in Blig, right, and then I skipped a year when everything changed because I didn't jump right on, and I had to wait my turn after that. So I think if Dan's been in for 15, then I've been 14, I think.
Okay. So one of the things that I've witnessed, because I started going to meetings with my dad as just the boss's kid, right? And then when Dad was approaching his sellout date, he left pro service because he was selling his business. And then a year after he sold his business, I was feeling that gap, and I signed back in, right? So I've on and off for 20 years been coming to the meetings, and there's a typical life expectancy of a member of a 20 group, it seems like, or at least the stages of their experience in a 20 group. They come in, they're kind of quiet because they don't know anybody and they don't know how it works, and they feel maybe imposter syndrome, and they get comfortable and they start to build relationships and they start to see real changes in action. And then they become like the jaded old guy in the back of the room who's just shouting or mumbling under their breath.
Yeah. Talking about Bill Gurney
or Evan.
Well, I mean, that's what my dad was by the end, right? It was him and Becker and Meyer would sit in the corner in the back of the room and judge everyone quietly and mumble under their breath. Yeah.
My very first meeting, I sat next to your dad at dinner the first night. So that was one of my introductions.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
it was great, right?
Yeah, one of my introductions to your dad was with Keith, and your dad came to dinner somewhere. We were at a Blake meeting, or I don't know if it was a Blake meeting or not, and just listening to those two guys talk blew me away. I was like, I'm involved in this. I think at that time I was still in the 2-car garage on Mosley Street. You know what I mean? So I remember that still. That day I was like, I'm getting involved in this. And at the time we weren't doing enough sales to be a part of the group. So I think I must have signed up for some meeting, and your dad came in and spoke. And I was like, wow, I can do this. So
that's cool.
And then now I'm trying to do that for the guys that will listen to me in this group.
Yeah. Well, so to the question then, understanding that kind of life cycle of a group member, have you found that you've been able to continue learning the whole time, or has it become, I don't want to say this in a detrimental way, like a fraternity? Like it's just your core group of friends. Like my best friends in the world are dudes that I know from the 20 group.
Right. I think we continue to learn. I know when I still had my shop and I was in it, there were, my guys still always dreaded me coming back from a meeting because they knew changes were coming. But that was me, right? That's the ADD and the OCD. That there's constant change. But I think there is, it's a fraternity, right? I mean, you want to see your buddies that are in your pack, the people you made lifelong friends with, but we're still going to learn, right? It's not just going to hang out with your buds for a long weekend. You're still going to learn. And I would say everybody picks up something.
Okay.
Right. And I think that,
so says the facilitator.
Yeah.
Well, it better be, right? Otherwise, it's on me.
No, and I like, when some of the guys sell, like good buddies like Dan and Dave, when they sell stuff, it's hard for me to, because we're all in different cycles in our life. Yeah. We all want different things, and some of us work harder at other things and other things. You know what I mean? So I come to meetings like this meeting. I've learned more out of this meeting than I have, or at least given myself ownership of the changes that need to happen. Yeah. Like to me, it's always been the immaculate facility, the smartest guys in the building, and pay the building off, and not have 6 shops or da-da-da. And now it's like the steps I need to, now my next thing is not going to the shop at all, not feeling guilty. So some of the SOPs and the things that Dan and Dave are really, really good at, and I'm here with leaving with a new empowerment to get that next step done. And I might have done it backwards in some people's idea and da-da-da, but to me, the real estate in the dirt was the most important, and I like to build things. So yeah, I'm always learning stuff, and I like meeting new people.
Well, I mean, and so there have been a lot of new people that I've met here at this one. Right. I like how Elite has started doing at least one event a year where it's pro service, one-on-one coaching, and other shop owners that are unaffiliated. They get to come and check it out. So it's been a lot of fun.
And for me, made lifelong friends, right? Like Rich and I have been friends for a long, long time. Dave Schultz, Nick Salas, you and I. I mean, we've
our wives,
and I went through tragedy in my life, and every one of them was there, right? I mean, didn't expect it, but people, when Michelle passed, they were all there, every one of them. And it was cool, because I knew they had my back.
Yeah. Just get in the car, go.
Speaking to that kind of connection that is built, I mean, it is what you just said. I once heard my dad say, there are 3 people in the world that I could call and say, I need $100,000 and no questions. Said they're all pro service people.
Right.
I couldn't call my family and ask that, right? They're the ones who call me.
They might call me and ask
right. But, and it's, one of the things, we did a lot of projects through Pro Service, and we're going to continue to do a lot of projects. But one of the things we did was talk about succession plans and emergency plans. Unfortunately, we learned that through a tragedy, right? When we lost a member who was on the way to a conference in a car accident. And, we built an emergency plan, right? So if something happened to me and I'm hit by a bus, my team was Dave Schultz and Rich Cox and Nick Zellis and Jim Murphy and Gabe, my general manager, and Michelle had all this information and had their phone numbers. And that was my team, that if they needed anything, they knew how my business ran. They would hop on a plane and they would be there the next day to help them do whatever, right?
Well, and after that happened, within months, there was a family meeting, and Dad said, look, if I get hit by a meteorite out of the sky, here's the envelope in the top left drawer of my desk. Open that up and follow the instructions.
Yep.
And he had the plan laid out. You call these people, you do these things, and this is how payroll, we don't miss a payroll and we keep trucking, and here's the policies. And I think that's can be life-saving and business-saving in the event of tragedy, especially, and you owe it more to your own family with the business. You owe it to all the families of all of your employees as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. You've got, whether it's 2 people or 100 people, they rely on you, right? So you need to have a plan for them and your business and your family. And that plan can't be in a thumb drive in your pocket.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
Yeah.
And they ended up having to shut that business down for 6 months because nobody knew how it ran. Nobody knew how the employees got paid. And then
the business never recovered fully.
Not really. They did reopen, and I think they're still doing well. I don't know if they sold out.
I think they sold it. Yeah.
Did they sell it? So,
well, going back to the fraternity aspect, and I was one of the new guys. I was sitting next to him, and he had a question about something. So I just opened my QuickBooks up to the last year that was about his sales, like within 2 seconds of knowing him. And I said, well, we talk about money in this group, and it sounds kind of weird. All of us have different amounts of money. Nobody's poor by any means, I don't believe. I think I'm richer than I thought I was going to be as a child, living in my car, moving to Ann Arbor. You know what I mean? So,
hey everybody, I wanted to take a minute to tell you about the coaching organization I've been involved with for over 20 years now. Elite. Elite Worldwide, they don't give you a one-size-fits-all solution. They tailor the coaching specifically to you and your shop. They pair you with an experienced coach who is either a current or a former shop owner, and they turn strategies into actual action and accountability and results. Whether it's improving your service advisor's sales, growing your shop, growing to multiple locations, they really have you covered. They've got training for all of those things. Clients of Elite really see results, higher profits, stronger teams, a better work-life balance. If you're ready to take the next step, visit eliteworldwide.com to schedule your discovery session. That's eliteworldwide.com to start working on your business rather than in it. Tell them that you heard about them on Confessions of a Shop Owner so that I get a pat on the back or maybe a box of chocolates or something. That would be awesome. Thanks.
What else in your life, what other people, to be honest, do you talk about it? I've got 2 friends that are lifelong college friends, and we talk about it. Beyond that, nobody talks about money. And, hey, I want to do this project. Should I borrow it or should I take out of cash? What would you do? Da-da-da. Who else are you going to call other than Dan or Jim or Dave? Or anybody in pro service that knows you. The conversations that are going on around the bar about money, I think it doesn't happen everywhere, and it's very important. It's like one of those healthy things in life. You got to communicate about money.
Well, and there are some groups out there that, we are a numbers-driven organization. Like Elite, you got to have your numbers, or you're not participating appropriately. Don't look at me like that. But there are other ones that are like emotions, and they don't share numbers, and they don't talk about they have very superficial conversations about numbers. It's all top line revenue based, and that's it.
Right.
And we are very numbers driven, but I'm always about people, right? Like taking care of my staff, right? So, that's important as well. And then the personal aspect, right? And spending time with family and stuff like that. So, yeah, we're numbers driven, but I'm going to push people to also take care of themselves, take care of their families, take care of their employees, and make sure that they're staying focused on that as well.
Right. And I think it brings the financial literacy, we'll say that way, it brings a lot of freedom that I think people don't realize it because they don't want to put the time in. Being able to look at your P&L this year to date, last year all the way through in one column, be able to pick out the piece that I need to focus on, that is really important. And that's where the money's made, right? It isn't. Top line is for real.
Well, a lot of shop owners are just trying to keep their head above water, and they don't have time to learn financial literacy. They're just trying to fix the fucking car,
Right.
And
in building the dashboard, with the dashboard's changed over the years, and amendments are made to it, and things that Jim thinks are more important come and go. But just in that process, that's an education.
For sure. Random thought. In Anthem, Arizona, is there like one shop that you all go to service your vehicles? Because that guy has got an impossible task to please that customer list.
So, I'm going to bite my tongue a little bit here because there's a couple of chains there that I have not had a good experience at. I'm not going to say who owns them. And then I haven't found a great shop yet. Over in Cave Creek, there's a shop. You probably know Frank Lutz.
I know the name. I don't know the person.
So he's in the industry. He's got a podcast as well.
Frank Lutz. I thought you said Fred. Frank. Yeah.
Frank.
Wrench Nation.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he's got a shop about 25 minutes from my house. So if I need something heavy, I'm taking the car there.
You guys should open a shop in Anthem.
Absolutely not. That's the last thing I will ever do again, right? I'm done, right? But let me tell you, it really sucks to have to pay somebody to work on your cars.
Well, you can come to CarFix on Saturdays and get a free oil change.
Can I?
The commute will be a bitch.
Yeah, right. I'm going to drive 2,200 miles over for a free oil change. However, it's still going to be a better oil change than I could get in Anthem, Arizona. It's that's the tough part, right? Because I'm a tech. I started as a tech, right? So, and I have a little OCD, right? So, like my contractor will tell you he's remodeling my house. I got a little OCD because every line's got to be perfect and stuff. But so having somebody else work on your car, that's tough.
Well, can you imagine what it was like being the GC who had Jim's house remodel in Flagstaff?
Yeah.
Talk about exacting and attention to detail.
Right.
And, oof, man, that poor dude didn't know what he was signing up for when he got that contract.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I do regularly when we're recording here is I talk to people about what's something that you screwed up last year or recently. Why did you screw it up? What are you doing differently to keep it from happening again? And so I can ask you if you screwed anything up, but I can ask you, what do you see us screwing up the most? And you can just make fun of me if you want, or you can make a generalization.
I think with some of the younger shop owners, they push each other, right? And I don't want to call it a mistake, but I see them sometimes, they have this ambition to grow, but they don't know why, right? And I'll ask them sometimes, so where are we going with this? What is the purpose of having 6 shops, 8 shops? Tell me why you want this, right? And they can't answer it.
More.
Right? And some of it's just ego, right? Some of it's just ego.
It's keeping up with the Joneses. Right. It's ego.
And what happens is they do this, and I'm not pointing my finger at anybody in this room, right? But they do this.
He's pointing his finger at me.
They take their finger off the trigger, and they start screwing around doing podcasts and stuff, and the business just goes to shit.
Bringing in wackos from Michigan.
But then they reel it back in, right?
And paying us the kind of money
I'm not
he's paying
talking
us to
about
be
you
here.
at all, Mr. Allen.
Let me know when one of those wackos actually reels it back in, because it's still a train wreck in my neighborhood.
But what's important too with that is I see you spending time with family, right? That you're not burning yourself 80 hours a week at the shop,
and neglecting your family, right? So when you're doing it from home Friday nights, family's there, right? They know leave drunk dad alone. He's in his office, but you're at home with the kids, right? And that's something I would have loved to have realized at a younger age, that family comes before the business, right? So when I say they might neglect the business, as long as it's for family, that's a good thing.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
Yeah, I'd say one of the mistakes that I'm trying to teach myself to stop doing is because I'm a tech and because of my standards, if I see us getting bogged down and or backed up, I want to get involved. And
so what everybody knows means they're busy. That's what means, right?
That we're really busy, and I want to take some of the less enjoyable projects that were sold off the plates of my guys, so they feel they're motivated to crush and nail 70 hours, and I should not be doing that. I brought it up the other day, and I was walked to the door, like physically. Everybody's laughing. A couple of them did it. It was
One of the best things for Rich's business is him not to be there.
Yeah, and that's hard to learn and let soak in too.
So how many people have we heard over the years that have built up a business that didn't require them to be there, and then they became an absentee owner, and then over the course of 2 or 3 years, it went off the rails, and they had to go back in because it was faltering badly? I mean, that's pretty common, right?
It happens. Yeah. I mean, I would say probably a 60-40, right? So probably 60 of them who try to walk away, it doesn't succeed. The other 40, it doesn't work.
I think there has to be at least some level of just course correction every fixed period of time, just checking in.
You can't just walk out the door and expect it to run the way you built it, right?
Because nobody cares as much as you.
For the most part,
Yeah,
right?
sometimes they can, but still their hesitancy to make decisions that'll fix things is because they're not empowered to just pull the trigger. So problems can kind of fester for a minute. And
You know, and I think the biggest problem with that is we didn't have the right person. We wanted them to be the right person. We wanted them to hold that title. Did they really want it? We don't know, but it fit what we wanted.
They wanted the title. They just didn't want the job.
Right.
Yeah.
But we also didn't do our due diligence, right? We didn't get them into the training they may have needed. We wanted to title that person. We needed them to become a manager because they'd been there X amount of time. Didn't mean they were the right person for the job. And then we walked away, right? So we put this person that may or may not have been the right person, and we put them in that position. We spent some time with them. We walked away. And then things start going downhill, right? Whose fault was that? Was it his fault? No. It was,
Yeah.
yeah,
Ultimately, it's always my fault.
right.
Right.
Well, it is always
Even
your
at
fault.
your shop, it was
Right.
my fault.
exactly.
Oh, yeah.
So-
Yeah.
Stuff failed at my shop. I'm like, call Mike Allen, man.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yell at him, not me. I only come in once a month. He goes in every 6 months.
Man, I worked more last year than I had in 5 years.
Yeah.
Well, since we opened the second shop, I worked more last year.
You're at 3 now?
Yeah. So we opened the third shop. I didn't work any more than I had been at all. It just hope it works. Have fun, guys.
Bye-bye.
I'll
But
be
you
back.
made some big changes, too.
Yeah. I turned over a complete staff in early January this year at my small store. There were 2 individuals that wanted to keep, but we needed a complete changeover in that shop, so we transferred them to another shop, and then the other 2 we let them go and put all new people in. So we'll see.
And you lost a key person in the business.
Yeah, and ultimately that was my fault. Good dude. He'd been with me for 12 or 13 years at that point. I promoted him above his level of expertise.
Oh,
and then
really?
Imagine that. And then I didn't train him,
me?
support him, equip him. 6 months before he left, we had a long conversation, and he felt like he wasn't being supported. He felt like, he's a very gregarious guy. He needs human interaction. Like, he's the mayor of his neighborhood wherever he lives. Like, he's the social hub. And we weren't personal friends. We didn't go to dinner together and that kind of stuff. And that was important to him. And I was like, I can't fake that, man. I've got like 3 friends in the world, close friends.
Yeah, exactly.
There's one other than us.
Hank.
Hank.
Yeah.
Where is Hank?
Where the fuck are you, Hank?
Yeah,
Hank. Hank, where are you, buddy?
I don't want to hear my back hurts. I can't travel.
I think he's like in
Sweden?
Switzerland or some shit.
Again?
Right? Yeah, I don't know. He's
Skiing?
always going to Europe skiing and stuff.
Yeah.
So evidently, I got 3 stores and I struggle to buy plane tickets, and Hank's got 1 store and he's skiing in the Alps all the time. What the hell am I doing wrong?
I don't know.
That one store thing can work for you.
Yeah. So,
See, I always wanted to be a multi-store. And there's not many times my wife said no to me. Well, outside the bedroom, but that was the one time,
He's got
right?
jokes.
She was like, it's funny. I was going to go to breakfast with a buddy of mine who was getting ready to retire. And it was 2014. So we had just opened up the new building. That was a monster and it was out of control and car count was crazy. And I'm like, I'm going to breakfast with Mike. She's like, why are you doing that? I'm like, he's getting ready to retire. We're going to buy his shop. It's like, no, you're not. I'm like, oh, yeah, no, it's good, right? And I'm like, this is what we've been talking about. She's like, you have enough chaos in our lives, right? Not your life, our lives, right? She's like, you're at the shop 11 hours a day. You're not doing another shop. I listened to her, right? And at the end of the day, I didn't need that second shop. I was making more money than I knew what to do with out of one big shop, right? And it was smart. I mean, I listened to her and, not everybody needs another shop.
well, one of the things that I was about to say earlier, and then I've lost my train of thought and told Braxton to edit it out. I guess you don't have to edit it out now, Braxton. Sorry. We were at dinner last night with these MSOs who are looking to grow rapidly. And their point was, you get a facility to 80% of its potential. That last 20% is really hard. And if you want to have one badass operation and get it to 95, 98%, you can certainly do that and make a lot of money.
Yeah.
But
That's a good point, actually.
the effort put in to get from 80 to 90 to 95 is so high. Why not just go get another store and get it up to 80%? Because that's not as much effort. As long as you get cash flow, it's not as much effort to get from where it is when you bought it, which is probably terrible, up to that 80% number. So it goes back to what, which I don't remember which speaker it was that we saw, but this, done is better than perfect because perfect never happens.
Yeah.
Right.
I actually wrote that down, believe it or not.
Well, I think the thing
And your
is,
shop is a perfectionist shop.
I know. And then I thought about that. And I'm like, what?
You remodeled
Everything should be perfect.
You
yes.
remodeled your kitchen 4 times in your shop.
In my shop.
right. And you've had your farmhouse how many years? 20?
14 years.
14 years.
Yeah.
Is it finished?
That is now, yeah.
I'm so proud of you.
100%.
Well, light fixture has to go back up, but in that interim, we saved. Well, that interim, we saved 2 barns, and
How many times did you change the kitchen at the house?
the kitchen at the house only changed once because Becky was upset.
Twice.
I did do it twice, but
When you've done so many kitchen remodels that you forget.
not really remodels. This stuff just moves around. This is a big open
Well,
floor
you buy
plan.
new equipment, right?
Buy new equipment. Yeah, that's always buying new equipment though.
But I think
That
the point is if you're going to do 2 shops, plan on 3.
So 2 was not that hard. The third one was kind of a kick in the nuts. I think that's
Really?
I think the third one is when the wheels started to fall off for me. It's also when my partner and I, it became obvious that we were just not on the same page, and so we parted ways, and there was a buyout there, and that's when I promoted that guy to be the manager over all 3 stores.
Right.
And then I was like, oh, well, this is stressing me out. I'm just going to go be fucking absentee and, sleep in and get on the internet and
Stay in your robe.
yeah.
Drink
And oddly,
whiskey all day.
giving somebody the keys to your kingdom and no support or training whatsoever is a stupid choice.
Come on now.
And he even asked me for support and training, and I was like, yeah, I got you, dog. And then, so, yeah, it was totally
I
my
thought
fault.
it would work.
Well, and also at the same time, we started implementing the rack attack and the speed of service and the free diag. And he's an old tech too, right? He's not even old. He's just a career tech who became a shop foreman, then a store manager, then an area manager, right? And I don't think he ever really believed in it, or at least he didn't feel like it was going to work in our setting or whatever. And now he's back to, he took like 3 or 4 months off and spent the summer with his daughter, who was between junior and senior years. Like, this is the last summer I get my daughter. I'm spending all summer with her. And he did that, and that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And he's back working on cars, and I think he's a lot happier. I hope he is,
So he's back with you.
No.
Oh.
He's at the Cadillac dealership.
Okay.
So, at least last I heard, he was. So, I hope it works.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, the last one I tried to groom and make somebody do what he didn't want to do and just throw money at him when it wasn't motivating. And he's running a flower shop and living his life, happy as a clam.
That's some hippie shit right there.
It
Man.
is.
Well, he wanted
It's
to be a
good.
farmer. He
He
never
wanted
wanted to be an
and
auto
So we went to the Wednesdays off so we could work on his own farm and blah, blah, blah. And everything's getting done, and then nothing's getting done.
Right, are you guys 4 days a week, 5 days a week?
We're 5 days a week,
Okay,
but his one morning off turned into like a day and a half, and I just didn't know because I wasn't there. so he saved me a lot of money doing that, though, and leaving, because I was going to give him part of the steak.
Yeah.
So it worked out good in the long run. The guys that are involved now are motivated to, motivated, and when issues come up and we talk about it, things change, and probably not. I probably don't give enough support, but.
So who's running the store for you?
Jason and Michael Miller. Michael Miller's service advisor, front of house, and Jason's his parts manager. So they kind of work as a pretty solid team to keep it rolling.
The
They need some
dynamic
help.
duo.
The dynamic duo. They need some help up front. So that's one of the things that's on my list to kind of handle when I go back. And they do see me, but they were seeing me out of my guilt. Like, I'd be involved in some pretty serious projects. So I've got other tradesmen with me. So I can't just pop in and take an hour and go back to pouring concrete at 7. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we're kind of working through that, and they just want what they want from me. They want me to be happy, right? So that's one of the cool things about having guys that you trust them, you care about them as people. We packed up the shop this year and went to SEMA, the whole group, except for the apprentices, and that was I think that went a long ways for trust and happiness of everybody in the shop. They were really blown away.
Well, we used to do shop trips with our shops combined.
Yeah.
Every February, we'd go to Florida or
Florida,
Vegas or New Orleans or something.
STX and
So our
Be
shops,
rough,
our
rough.
employees all knew each other and stuff like that. So
we were a force.
It's
We're
fucking
like
crazy to me.
16 people out there just fighting the cops, man. It was awesome. Yeah. No, I kind of miss those days too, but yeah. So and the guys are really proud of the service they're allowed to provide, and my guys have, we have an agreements of what they're allowed to take care of without asking me and things like that. So there's a level of respect that goes back and forth. I'm not one that marches in there and what is this? I'll wait a few days. And so where are we at with that one? Should we talk about it now? Is it time? Which is a learning on my end to not just be.
well, you got to
a
train
monster.
them. You got to give them the authority, the control to run the business, but you also have to be there to support them. Right.
Do you have an end in sight? Are you planning on selling? You planning on
You really going to go there?
what? Is
This
that
could
hard
be
question?
a half-hour ordeal.
I think I have a simple answer.
No.
Do you want to hear it?
Yeah.
I do not want to sell. I have a little bit of money left on the mortgage, and I'm having a good time. I've got my other building. We're financially in really good shape the way we are, and we'll be in really better shape if we just keep collecting what the store does and share it with the guys. And I'm still going to be a part of Pro Service and da-da-da.
Stop buying equipment.
I'm not going to stop buying equipment, but my accountant and I talked about it, and he's fine. He's rested and settled with my spending.
He stopped trying to change you.
He stopped trying to change me, and so we put some things on the balance sheet, and Orion Auto is renting the new building, and it's all working out just fine. So yeah, I'm still really proud of what I created. I started in a one car garage with a beeper, literally, I was doing a mobile diesel, and my truck got hit on the highway.
Slinging weed too, if you had a beeper at that time.
That was because of that. Might have been
222 needs car repair. 333 needs
Exactly.
need a quarter ounce.
Exactly. That's a different podcast, I think. So no, I'm still proud of it, and it goes back to everybody has different wants and needs and stuff, and I'm not building stuff. So even if I sold, it'd slow down my building habit, and I don't want to slow down my building habit.
Well, it seems like what you've built works really well for you and is very profitable for you, but it's also probably not very marketable to a consolidator because it's not a general repair shop that does tires, and it's not like I don't see a lot of Euro specialty guys and high end specialty guys getting bought up.
Well,
Not by private equity, right?
Yeah.
But you're going to find the hobbyist who wants to get into the industry, or you're going to find the technician who is a specialist who wants to get in. So I think it's marketable, not at the high level that you're going to get from private equity, right? And private equity needs to be a little bit wiser on what they're purchasing too, right? And know, and I think they have. But I think his shop is definitely down the road marketable. As always, I think it's most valuable to the key employee.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that I thought about that before too. If an equity company would come in and do what they did to Dan's, and
I wanted to ask you about that. Who is it that bought Dan? Was it Sun?
Great Water Garages.
And how is that shop doing now?
They've struggled a little bit, but they're kind of bringing it back. So they just had some employee changes and stuff like that. And, it's as an employee, it's a little bit different working for a family ran business, and then now you're working for a corporation, right? So
Is there anybody left who was there when you were there?
yeah, there's some of the technicians are still there.
I don't know that I've heard of a lot.
The wind's picking up.
I don't know that I've heard of a lot of consolidators buying high-performing shops and not reducing the level of production. Like they buy shitty shops, they can improve them, right? But they don't want shitty shops. They want shops that are already making good money.
And my shop was a boutique shop, right? And I call it a boutique shop because, again, like Rich's shop, cater to the customer, right? So 30 loaner vehicles, every car got washed with service, pickup and delivery. We're there to service the customer, and we fixed the car while we're servicing the customer. And that's not what multi-shop ownership's about a lot of times, right? When you own 120, 180, you need to streamline it, right? Yeah. You can't
operate at that level.
Can't operate at that level, right? There's a high cost to having 30 loaner vehicles and washing every car and all of that. It's like you see Targets all over the place, but you don't see Nordstrom's all over the place, right? Mm-hmm. So they each have their place. So when a Target's not going to go buy Nordstrom, right? So when a private equity multi-store buys a boutique shop, they're going to change it, and you have to realize they're going to change it to meet their needs. So they're going to have that transition time, right? It's a little gut-wrenching because you built it one way.
How upsetting was that for you to watch it?
It was upsetting at first, but at the end of the day, it's their shop. It's not my shop, right? Yeah. I mean, it was my blood, sweat, and tears for 30 years, and they're doing it different than I did it, right?
But they paid you really damn well to make it.
But they bought it, right? Yeah. It would be like if I had a 68 Camaro that I love the color, I painted it, and I sell it to somebody, and they change the color. It's his car, right? Yeah. Or her car. Do with it as you will, right? And that's what you have to realize.
Speaking of collectible cars, did Noel sell his car?
It is going on the auction block in about 2 to 5 hours.
He's at Barrett Jackson.
He's at Barrett Jackson.
What's he selling?
He is selling a 1970 Chevelle with I think a 501 big block
Lot number 1452.1, if I remember right. I can pull it up here.
Sounds like you're about to bid on it.
No. I got enough chaos in my life with 2 houses, both under remodeling and all that. So,
Well, cool. Well, we're coming up about that time. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to talk to me and not telling too many embarrassing stories about all the shit that I do wrong. I appreciate that.
we leave that for Friday nights.
I appreciate that. I do.
You need to come to a Friday night.
Yeah,
He's
I
not
think I
getting
will.
on Zoom on a Friday night.
What's that?
You're not getting on a Zoom on a Friday night, are
You
you?
don't think so?
Nah, you're too cool for that shit. You're out doing fun stuff.
No, I'm.
No, he's not.
I'm in
He's
this-
sleeping.
No, I'm in the studio working it, but I'll jump in.
Yeah.
I'll jump in for my new studio.
Grab some booze and come on in.
All right. Thanks, guys. I appreciate
Okay.
it.